You can hear me, I hope? Yes. My name is Rein, and I'm the creative director and co-founder of Maru VR. We are situated here in Estonia. Before I went into VR, my background is actually film as well. Seems to be a pattern emerging here. But we have a game called Bootstrap Island. It's a virtual reality survival game, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it and how we made it. So our company is now almost 8 years old. We founded the company, me and Lilith here, 8 years ago. That would be 2016, where virtual reality, the new wave of virtual reality, was still very, very early. And over these 8 years, we have created more than 40 custom virtual reality experiences. So basically client work. So these are for private companies, for museums, training applications, marketing. And over the years, we have watched VR grow, and we are big fans of the medium and want to try new things with it. And over all this time, we have been searching for our own thing, our own product that we would feel that is really, really missing in VR, and we want to fill that gap. Lucky for me, the direction where VR seems to be going over the years, also business-wise, is still games. Because if somebody actually buys a VR headset to use at home, their own personal VR space, then one of the main things that they still want to do is play games. And in 2018, I pitched a tribal management game to my colleagues, which was basically that you would be running a tribe and you would teach them what to do, kind of like a strategy game where you teach every individual person in your tribe what to do with your own body language, like how to chop a wood and how to build something. And people thought that the idea was interesting. And while doing research for that idea, I reread one of my childhood favorites, the Robinson Crusoe book. And while reading it, I discovered that that would actually also be a basis for a quite interesting game. Because in a survival situation, you would have to do a lot of things physically. You would have to interact with things. You would need to figure out things. And at the same time, you were constantly needing to manage these resources in order to avoid death. So we started working on that idea and completed first prototype for the game, which was then called Flintlock Island, in the summer of 2021. We showed it to a lot of people, a lot of friends, and the feedback was very positive. And we saw that there is potential to really create something there. So we started producing the game then called Bootstrap Island, which it still is, in 2021, at first with a very small team, and then it started growing and growing. So why would we think that this tropical 17th century survival game is something that would fit VR well? And when I mean fit well, it's not in a way that when you think about virtual reality, you would think about Bootstrap Island, that this is what virtual reality is for. So we imagined it as a bit of a dream game of ours, that it's systemic, replayable, and highly interactable. So when people put on a VR headset, they want to be in another world. They want to be in a different environment, especially when you're in Estonia and outside it's not very nice, then you want to be on a tropical island, right? But then when you are in this environment, you want to interact with everything, and you expect everything to behave in a way that it does in real life. And in a survival situation, you actually have a meaning behind that. You are interacting with a coconut because you want to drink water. You are interacting with some stones and sticks because you need to create fire. So basically, when something that you want to be interactive or expect to be interactable in VR, and you are doing something and it doesn't do that, it feels like a bug. It feels like the game developers didn't know that this would happen in real life. Are they stupid? As you might expect, creating a game like this is very, very time-consuming and very difficult. Yeah, this is where we are. And also a big part of Bootstrap Island is the story and the atmosphere that we wanted to recreate, this feeling that you are inside this adventure novel, and there's this aura of mystical aura around the island and the big volcano on top of it, and so it would feel like you were slowly uncovering some sort of a mystery. The game is made only for the PC because one of the things that we discovered while doing this for the client work projects is that people respond much more stronger into VR environment which is realistic, which looks realistic, where it's the light acts like in real life, where sounds are realistic, and also they are spatial, so that when you turn your head, the source of the sound move accordingly, and when you move further and away from things, then you can hear it. So basically, we set a very high bar for ourselves, which has its pros and cons. People very much like to be in this realistic environment, but at the same time, it's very slow and expensive to produce. And also, something that we discovered is that it's pretty hard to design a game inside this very realistic environment. Anyways, the work started in 2021, and our team has grown since then. Currently, the team is around 15 people working full-time on Bootstrap Island. So the team has very varied experience in different fields. Some people have previously worked in AAA companies. Some have worked on some indie hits like Disco Elysium, and of course our own 40 VR projects are mostly been created with these very same people. We launched into early access on Steam this year, 22nd of February. And can I now please have the trailer for the launch trailer of the game?
Shipwrecked in a strange land, cut off from all mankind. My fate is in my own hands. Shipwrecked on a strange land. Cut off from all mankind. My fate is in my own hands. Shipwrecked on a strange land. Cut off from all mankind. My fate is in my own hands.
Thank you. There's more. This is also good. So when we launched the game on Steam, being a PC-only game, still in early access, we were kind of mentally prepared that it can happen that it goes completely under the radar, as happens to 98% of VR games that launch on Steam. But luckily, that didn't happen. We were hoping that since this sort of a game would only be fun to play, but also fun to watch. So we were really hoping that YouTubers would pick it up, because not only does it look realistic, but also there's a lot of chances in a systematic game to do things your way and kind of mess things up on purpose and kind of experiment. And it happened. A lot of YouTubers made videos about the game when it launched. There was a huge peak, and there were some videos which had over 1 million views. And also before the launch, we approached a lot of YouTubers, and some of them didn't pick up. And then later they made videos anyway. So that was really good. And also, we were not sure what the response is going to be from people who actually buy the game, because it's one thing to show a game to your friend and get feedback, but it's something completely different if people actually pay money for your game and they expect something in return, and if they don't get that, they are very angry. I would say that the feedback generally has been much more positive than we have expected. Currently, we have a very positive rating on Steam, which means that more than 80% of people who have bought the game have over 80% of the reviews that people have left are positive. And even some of the negative reviews start with the words, "It's an amazing game, but," which still, sounds pretty positive. So overall, that has been a very positive surprise for us to get a lot of positive feedback. After the launch, we have been busy. In the first 3 months, we released 10 updates. One of them was a major one. Other updates are often about quality of life, bug fixes, performance improvements, some smaller new features. But the first major new update was we added building and inventory to the game. When it first launched, the game had no inventory system, so you had to use your 2 hands. Currently still, the inventory is something that only experienced players can use because it's locked behind you having to survive 15 days to even have a chance of finding the bag to hold your stuff. And we are hopefully very, very near to launching our major update number 2, which features the first boss monster in the game, which is a huge boss ape, very, very scary to meet in VR. I don't think I have, without cheating, defeated that boss myself so far. So good luck to all the players. We are constantly having sales, community events, and other engagements. Our community is also very positive and still quite active on Discord, even though we haven't updated the game for months. And we recently launched on the Whiteboard platform as well. And we plan to release the game fully on PC in the end of 2025. But we still plan to add new content, new areas, new enemies, new items, new story to the game a long time after the launch. And hopefully some other VR platforms will also be announced at some point where the game would be available, but that's still pretty far away. So to summarize, our approach to Bootstrap Island, to VR games in general, is that in VR, there is very little space for games that are okay. People buy the same games over and over again. I mean, even In 2024, you still have Beat Saber and Job Simulator and Superhot as the main sellers, because these are the giants, the really good games of VR, and we want to be part of that list. And launching the game has given us more confidence that we can actually be there in the top, and this is what we are hoping for. And hopefully in a couple of years, you will see if we were correct in our estimations or not. Thank you very much.